There was just a couple of wrestling programs from the major organizations on the air over the weekend. On Friday night, SmackDown and Rampage, and I'm going to give you Rampage first because there was one thing that I could actually stomach and watch on that program as opposed to SmackDown where there were two. I will make mention of the fact that again, they've given up on Friday night at AEW. Every once in a while, you'll get something that if you want to go out of your way to watch it, as I did with this match, you'll see it. Otherwise, they've given up. It's like they gave the later night time slot to the little kids to just romp and do what they want. I would have thought they'd had to be in bed by then. But anyway, Adam Cole, by the way, they're rehabilitating Adam Cole. Have you heard about this?
I have not. I mean, we saw that promo on Dynamite this week talking about his big match with Evil Uno, but that's all I know.
Oh, yeah. Well, and he won that. Shocking upset. Adam Cole beat Pizzeria Uno on the program and then did another in-ring promo trying to talk the people into believing that he's going to be AEW World Champion. He promised the people he would be the AEW World Champion the week after he got beat in a garbage match by the company mascot. So I think, unfortunately, and we just used him as an example of a guy that got promos and sounded serious. He's trying to talk himself at this point into, I didn't make a mistake. I know I just wrestled a pleather-clad potato, and I know that last week I got beat by a mascot, but I'm going to be the AEW champion. Then they had some more girls. I was on Fast Forward, but some more girls beat each other up with chairs backstage. That never happens. And then they had a match that I thought that I would get into, want to critique, whatever. Mercedes Martinez versus Thunder Rosa. You know what finish was, Brian?
No.
It's a girls match, right? Not only that, it's a cold girls match. There's no death angle between these two, right? Mercedes Martinez just got there. Finish was Mercedes Martinez pulled a lead pipe out from under the ring and caved Thunder Rosa's fucking skull in with it and got disqualified. And excrement, and I think, and Jericho also, I've kind of tuned him out, but he was screaming like he does, when he does the lyrics to the rock songs. They weren't remarking with shock and concern in their voice that this girl just got her head caved in with a lead pipe. They were a disqualification. You never see that. You never see that in AEW. A disqualification. Holy shit. This must be bad, what she just did. You think? She hauled off and swung, and it was obvious. I say lead pipe in quotation marks. It was a gimmick pipe. No blood, no brain matter, no CAT scan, no stopping the show for a ambulance to come and take this poor brain-dead Thunder Rosa away in a vegetative state. She just hauled off, hit her over the head with a lead pipe. She went down, got disqualified. I don't know if it was ever referred to again.
And why do they hate each other?
I don't know. I don't.
All right.
Because one of them apparently really makes an impression because they've just been around each other for just a few days. She just got there. Anyway, the main event segment was the one that I came for. Mark Henry is still apparently his job. He shows up in a small box for 30 seconds a week to interview the main event participants on Rampage and then say, it's time for our main event.
Yeah, he seems happy to be there.
Paul White is never been seen again. They have two national, is he still there? I'm wondering. They have two national television programs per week, and they have Mark Henry and Big Show working for the company, and Mark Henry gets a 30-second interview once a week, and we haven't seen Big Show in months. Anyway, Lethal did a great promo. He's so good. Starks is great too, and we know that. But again, this is one of the first times in quite a while that Lethal has been seen since TNA on national cable. And now he's not doing, the black machismo. He's being Jay Lethal, and he's fucking great. And both of them conduct themselves like professionals. And they had a match for the FTW title, but it was a match between Ricky Starks and Jay Lethal. So it's going to be worth watching, even though it's the bogus belt thing. They rang the bell and they locked up with each other. And it was the best lockup that I've seen in weeks. And immediately you could tell the difference in these two guys and almost every other match you see on TV these days. Both of them, the facials, the struggle, they're serious. They look like athletes. They worked to where tempers flared and they started laying it in a little bit. They showed some animosity toward each other. It was a little dirty boxing in the clinches, not just this fucking choreographed bullshit. There was a clear baby face and a clear heel, so you didn't have any problem with that. Hobbs was at ringside, made the distraction, and Starks hit a heat spot on Lethal to go to the break. And coming back, guess what? He was getting heat on him. Jay Lethal is already, right now, currently, as far as in-ring and television promo athletic performer, in the top 20% of the AEW roster, period. And we've seen him now twice on the 2 weekly shows wrestle, and he's, spoiler alert, he's about to do his second job. Remember when...
It's like Ruby Soho.
Yes, remember when people won when you first saw them. That's why you kept watching them, and then they started losing. But if they lose when you first see them and then it's the backwards wrestling federation. They've just decided we're going to do things completely differently than everybody ever in history. We're going to put people in main events, beat the shit out of them, and 6-8 months later, they'll be ready for preliminaries where they go over. So anyway, they did nice ducks and counters. Lethal hit a clothesline, got an opening to make a comeback. It was different. He hit quick, multiple false finishes. They were having a wrestling match, and the momentum starts picking up. Starks hit a big power bomb, got a 2 count, and then they traded in the middle. Boom, boom, boom. And finally, Lethal's cooking. He levels Starks. Hobbs is up on the apron. He drop kicks Hobbs off the apron. Starks stops Lethal and shoots him to the far side. Lethal ducks the clothesline and dives through the ropes out of the ring toward Hobbs, who has come up from the drop kick, but Hobbs moved and Lethal crashed face first. And that's why I wrote, what the fuck? That was too dangerous for the reward of that spot. But out of nowhere, Dante Martin shows up in the arena, runs through the ring, and jumps off the top rope with a big-ass leap on Hobbs, and he nails him. But Lethal, this is the only part that was not red. Lethal just crashed face first on the dive that Hobbs sidestepped, but he gets back in the ring. So apart from that, he got back in the ring and hit a cutter. I'm tempted to start calling it an RKO so everybody will know what it is, but then that specific to Orton, like Diamond Cutter specific to Diamond Dallas Page. So we're going to have to figure out something else to call it. But anyway, he went for the lethal injection. Stark ducked it and countered it, went for it again, and Starks ducked it again, caught him up on top of his shoulders and hit his reverse upside down Death Valley driver finish. Boom, 1, 2, 3, smooth finish. Great match. It's not even a bad result because Starks is a guy they've been using, but it's just ridiculous to book Lethal like this when you've just signed him. Like everybody that they just signed, and then bring him in and beat him on television in their first, second, third, even fourth appearances. So by then, fucking the bloom, as they say, is off the rose. Once that people have seen somebody lose 3 or 4 times, That's it. They are where they are. They're not going to be main event fucking guys. And I don't know why this is somehow revolutionary to make that statement. Have you ever heard anybody until now or seen anybody ever do this like this with anybody?
No, it's really weird. And we haven't seen Jay Lethal win yet. He showed up and then he was gone. And then he came back as the replacement to Leo Rush in that program. And then he was gone again. And then he was back in that program. And he hasn't won. And the fans already know who he is. So he's as over as anyone who debuts who isn't like a WWF superstar. WWE, excuse me. But we've seen him randomly and he doesn't win. And we brought up Ruby Soho earlier. She came in there super over, a lot more over than even Jay Lethal. And after a while, she just never won again. And now, I mean, that was the thing. When you see the result and you hear about Jay Lethal, it doesn't surprise me because it's only 2 days after we just had the conversation about the Ruby Soho match. Why? Nothing against Nyla Rose, but why are you doing this to Ruby Soho? Why are you booking her like this?
It's just, it's inexplicable. And yet still, once again, someone tried to defend this. The Puddin' Gang's on TV every week.
And Adam Cole lost to Orange Cassidy.
The mascot beat Adam Cole, but Ruby Soho couldn't beat Nyla Rose? That would screw up your booking somehow? The more that they're gifted, the more that they just piss on it. So
are they trying to put AEW originals over anybody that comes in, whether it's WWE or just, like a Jay Lethal who was established on the independents for years and years, just trying to put over their original people over those people?
It didn't make a lot of sense when Vince buried most of the WCW talent, but it made more sense than this because he didn't spend the money to get the top WCW talent. He got underneath WCW talent. But still, you could have done something with a few guys. He buried, but that's when he was loaded with a roster of the biggest, best talent in the world. Now you've got a company that started with a ragtag band of outlaw guys that most of them weren't ready for television. All of them got their jobs because they're friends. And over the last 2 years, slowly, the WWE has been very accommodating in releasing people that fan base would want to see even more than if they were in the WWE. And they've picked up talent and they've got legitimate guys on the roster and they still, it's like he doesn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Hey, sorry. Sometimes the ugly, pimply-faced girl, the fucking night of the prom or whatever, it's all you can get. But if you lose your pimples and get your braces taken off and then you're the captain of the football team, then you can probably get the cheerleader. And that's what now Tony Khan got a few cheerleaders. But he won't stop encouraging the pimply-faced girls to call him back.
Well, that was Rampage.